Hello my viewers and welcome back to my channel. Subscribe, like and share your thoughts in the comment section down below. Welcome to today's discussion where we take a look into a topic often overlooked: discrimination in Latin America. Now, in recent years, there's been a growing trend of individuals seeking refuge from discrimination in their home countries, particularly in the United States, by relocating to Latin American nations. However, what many fail to realize, as this lady says, is that discrimination knows no borders. Now, in this video, we will explore the sobering reality faced by those who've moved to Latin American countries only to encounter discrimination once again. From Mexico to Brazil, discrimination based on race, ethnicity, and skin color persists, challenging the notion of Latin America as a utopia free from prejudice. So join me as this lady sheds light on the experiences of those who've bravely shared their stories and navigate the complex landscape of discrimination in Latin America. I will be right back.
It's true. Black people will be discriminated against in a Latin American country. If you're leaving America to get away from discrimination and you're moving to a Latin American country thinking that you're not going to be discriminated against, you're wrong. I've been hearing a lot about people that have moved to Mexico and are complaining that they're being discriminated against in Mexico. Let me tell you something. Mexico discriminates against their own Mexican people that are darker shade than the rest of them. In Mexico, there's a lot of states that have very fair skin and blue eyes people. The people that have indigenous features, the very dark skin, the black hair, are discriminated against. So you coming to live to Mexico and think that you're not going to be discriminated against is a fallacy. This is not just in Mexico. It happens everywhere in Latin America. Black people are discriminated against. In Honduras, there's an entire community of Garifunas. And Garifunas have been in Honduras for hundreds of years. And to this day, they discriminate against them. They remove their land. Some of them even get murdered. It's a battle Garifunas have gone through for decades with Honduras, because Honduras to this day does not recognize Garifunas as part of being part of Honduras. And so I grew up looking at Garifunas as if they were subculture, subhuman. I'm telling you, you think that you're leaving the U.S. and moving to a Latin American country to escape racism. You're not escaping racism. And you need to understand that that's just the way things are. And it's very acceptable. Those of you who are coming on TikTok complaining that they're in Mexico and that they are embracing the Mexican culture and why are they being discriminated against, that is why. Mexico people discriminate against their own. What do you think it's going to happen when you're there? In fact, in Mexico, if you don't have light skin and blue eyes, first of all, look at the telenovelas. You tell me, what do you see in telenovelas? You're only going to see beautiful people with light skin and blue eyes. You're going to see some indigenous people. The vast majority of the roles they give the indigenous actors is of the maid, is of, it's never the pretty woman. Yeah. How many actors do you know in Mexico that are in a telenovela and they happen to be black? Just look at the telenovelas and you tell me how many indigenous actors and actresses you're going to see in those telenovelas. It's the reality in Mexico, and you need to understand that. You're not escaping racism by moving to a Latin American country.
Now, in her video, the speaker illuminates a harsh truth often overlooked. Discrimination against Black people extends far beyond borders, permeating the fabric of societies across Latin America. Now, her observations resonate with empirical evidence as studies consistently reveal pervasive racial biases and systemic inequalities faced by Afro-Latinx communities throughout the region. Mexico, as she rightly points out, is just one piece of the larger puzzle. Despite its diverse cultural heritage, discrimination based on skin color and indigenous features remains deeply ingrained in the Mexican society. Studies have shown disparities in education, employment, and access to healthcare disproportionately affecting Afro-Mexican and indigenous populations. However, Mexico is not an anomaly. Across Latin America, from Brazil to Colombia, Afro-descendant communities confront similar challenges. In Brazil, for instance, Afro-Brazilians continue to face barriers to economic mobility and suffer disproportionately from violence and police brutality. Meanwhile, in Colombia, Afro-Colombian communities grapple with land dispossession and limited political representation. Moreover, the intersection of discrimination compounds the challenges faced by Black individuals in Latin America. Afro-Latinx women, for example, often experience compounded forms of marginalization, grappling with both racial and gender-based discrimination. Now, by shedding light on these harsh realities, the speaker's commentary serves as a sobering reminder of the urgent need for societal change and collective action to dismantle systemic racism and create a more equitable future for all individuals across Latin America. In countries like Peru, where indigenous populations are prominent, Afro-descendant communities often face marginalization on multiple fronts, including racial discrimination and socio-economic disparities. Limited access to education, healthcare, and employment opportunities further exacerbate these challenges, perpetuating cycles of poverty and inequality. Colorism, the preference for lighter skin tones, remains a prevalent issue across Latin America, reinforcing discriminatory attitudes and practices. Lighter-skinned individuals are often afforded greater privileges and opportunities, while those with darker skin tones face discrimination and prejudice. Now, in political spheres, Afro-descendant communities are frequently underrepresented with limited access to decision-making processes and resources. The lack of political representation hinders efforts to address systemic inequalities and enact meaningful policy reforms. Media representation also plays a significant role in shaping perceptions of race and ethnicity in Latin America. Stereotypical portrayals of Afro-descendant individuals contribute to the perpetuation of negative stereotypes and reinforce discriminatory attitudes within society. Now, to address these systemic injustices, concerted efforts are needed to promote anti-racist policies, foster inclusivity, and amplify the voices of Afro-descendant communities. Education, advocacy, and legislative reforms are important tools in challenging entrenched inequalities and building a more equitable society for all individuals in Latin America. Economic inequality is stark among Afro-descendant populations in Latin America. Now, studies have consistently shown that Afro-Latinx individuals are more likely to live in poverty compared to their palm-color counterparts. This economic marginalization is perpetuated by limited access to quality education, job opportunities, and financial resources. Afro-descendant communities in Latin America often face disparities in healthcare access and outcomes. This includes higher rates of maternal mortality, lower life expectancy, and limited access to essential healthcare services. Discriminatory practices within healthcare systems further exacerbate these disparities, leading to inadequate treatment and neglect. Education is a crucial determinant of socioeconomic mobility, yet Afro-descendant individuals in Latin America encounter barriers to quality education. Factors such as inadequate school infrastructure, discriminatory school policies, and teacher bias contribute to lower educational attainment among Afro-Latinx students. This perpetuates cycles of poverty and limits opportunities for upward social mobility. Afro-descendant communities in Latin America are disproportionately impacted by the criminal justice system. Racial profiling, police brutality, and discriminatory sentencing practices result in higher unaliving rates among Afro-Latinx individuals. Moreover, access to legal representation and due process may be limited, further exacerbating systemic injustices. In countries with significant Afro-descendant populations, such as Colombia and Brazil, land dispossession and forced displacement remain pressing issues. Afro-descendant communities often face land grabs, eviction, and violence as they struggle to assert their land rights. Now, this not only disrupts livelihoods, but also erodes cultural heritage and social cohesion. Afro-Latinx cultures and traditions are frequently marginalized within mainstream society, contributing to the erasure of Afro-descendant identities. Negative stereotypes and stigmatization perpetuate harmful narratives about Blackness, leading to cultural invisibility and exclusion. We have finally come to the end of the video. Share your thoughts as well in the comment section. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.